again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting hour of Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, along with Joel Watts. We'll be describing the action, ladies and gentlemen, here today. A lot of great single competition. You're going to see the North American champion, the Nightmare, in action. Plus, you're going to see Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch go against Dirty Dutch Mantell in the Battle of the Texans. Plus, Hacksaw Butch Reed returns. A lot of tag team action as well, Joel, here today on Mid-South.
Yeah, we'll see the Mid-South Tag Team Champions in action against Brickhouse Brown and Mark Reagan. Also, we'll see a new tag team combination called the Bounty Hunters in action today. Also, we'll see Jake the Snake and the Barbarian in action. It's going to be a great hour, I guarantee you.
It certainly is, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, we're going to see Mike Graham, the son of the legendary Eddie Graham, one of the top wrestlers in the profession. He'll be making his Mid-South debut here today. And ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to talk with country music star Jerry Reed. What a fan of Mid-South Wrestling is that tremendous entertainer. I asked Jerry several questions. Here is some of that interview.
I watch it at home. You know, wrestling to me is one of the most entertaining things on earth. You know, you hear a lot of pros and cons about wrestling. There's wrestling fans that fight you over wrestling. I know, I grew up, my family was wrestling fans. I'd go down to the City Auditorium up in Marietta, the Municipal Auditorium in Atlanta, and we'd watch wrestling. I mean, I've seen things in wrestling rings that make my heart stop, just stop. So it really is, it's enjoyable to me. It's a fun sport, and it's fun to watch. And you know, the wrestling fans are, they're in those matches like they're in the ring themselves. And that's what's really so good about it. You know, it's the wrestlers, you relate to them. They communicate with them, you know, and it's macho, and it's good. Macho's good. I like it.
Jim, you know, Jerry Reed is certainly a great wrestling fan and certainly a fan of Mid-South Wrestling, as a lot of people are, because Mid-South Wrestling is the #1 rated syndicated sports program in the country. I think that's really great. A lot of people are standing up and taking notice of the Mid-South, movie stars, actors, people like Jerry Reed, and especially the wrestlers themselves. The Mid-South area is noted for its great competition. One example, in fact, is waiting in the ring right now. Mike Graham, one of the great junior heavyweight contenders, has come to the Mid-South to do battle. Let's go to the ring right now.
This event one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner from Houston, Texas, 220 pounds, Tommy Pritchard. And across the ring, the highly ranked grappler from the state of Florida, Mike Graham. Your referee, Carl Fergie.
Your first match here at Mid-South Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Graham. Highly regarded, maybe the understatement of the year. He's one of the top athletes in all of wrestling. Generally regarded as one of the great junior heavyweights. And he's here to go with Tommy Pritchard, so this should be a fine bout to start off with.
Mike Graham's got a lot of ring experience. Of course, he learned quite a bit from his father, Eddie Graham, who was a great grappler in his own right. Mike Graham, extremely strong and quick. Very powerful man.
Mike Graham, former 2 times winner of the Powerlifting Championship of Florida. Don't let his smaller size deceive you. He's a very solid young man. And he has, of course, confined most of his wrestling in the state of Florida. Nice fireman's carry takeover. And Mike Graham is here in the Mid-South. Just another indication, as Joel Watts mentioned earlier, of the top stars coming to Mid-South.
Mike Graham really locking up on the armbar and twist on Tommy Pritchard. Pritchard, of course, martial arts expert. Mike Graham with a hip toss. Mike Graham's a great outdoorsman, loves to fish and hunt. Of course, he's hunting down the competition right here in the Mid-South. Glad to have him here, great athlete. I've known Mike since I was a young kid. Mike Graham trying to break out of the headlock, trying to maneuver himself into a top wrist lock. Top wrist lock, of course, a very, very painful hold. There, he's got it. He's got the top wrist lock on Tommy Pritchard. But Tommy Pritchard, a strong man in his own right. Pritchard there looks as if he used a little subterfuge. There's been a little hair pulling there. Hard shoulder smash off the ropes. Pritchard gaining velocity. Mike Graham really caught him with a drop kick hard. Rather, he caught Tom Pritchard off those ropes. I think Pritchard's own velocity worked against him that time, but Pritchard, a tough kid, manages to fire back. Shoulder smash from Graham this time, and now it's Graham who's got the velocity off the ropes, and Pritchard with that circling savate kick straight to the chin, and Graham is hurting.
Don't ever discount the abilities of Tommy Pritchard, ladies and gentlemen. He knows what he's up against this superstar, Mike Graham. He knows Graham is here coming to the Mid-South to make a name for himself, as he has in every area he's been in.
Tommy Pritchard there using the flat of the fist, blatantly illegal. There he goes for an atomic drop, and Mike Graham catches him hard. I think Mike Graham caught him with that right before the stun and the pain caught him from that atomic backbreaker. Both of these men squaring off toe-to-toe now, rights and left. Graham catches Pritchard. It looks like he was trying to catch that knee. Figure four. Eddie Graham was the man who taught the figure four to Jack Briscoe, one of the great world heavyweight champions of our time. Tommy Pritchard quickly giving up.
And the winner of the match, Mike Graham with a figure four. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with a special press conference that has been called by Sir Oliver Humperdinck and the Nightmare. We'll be back right after this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned to you last week when Joel and I were here, we did say that this week we'd bring you a press conference that the Nightmare called. I mentioned last week we haven't heard the Nightmare say too many things since he's been in the Mid-South. He's done all of his talking in the ring. He's undefeated. He's the North American champion. The press conference, well, it will speak for itself. Let's see that footage.
I've gathered you, the members of the press, together here today for one reason. Actually, for two reasons, but let's get to the first point first. I'm making a reappearance in the Mid-South wrestling area. My name is Sir Oliver Humperdinck, and I'm probably one of the most successful managers in the wrestling business today. I make my money managing...
I'm still trying to wonder what my purpose.
Eddie, I'll get to you in a minute. Just a minute, Eddie. Success, my middle name. Champions, my mainstay in life. I pay very well. I do well for myself, and everybody that I handle does well. Now,
that still doesn't answer my question. What's the purpose of being the champion being here today?
Well, that's an interesting question, Eddie. You know, the past few weeks I've had a few negotiations with the man standing behind us right now, the champion, the North American heavyweight champion, and he's told me a few things, that there's a few problems between you and he, management-wise. Now, I realize that you're a great wrestler, but you're not a manager, and you don't know the aspects of this business like I do. Therefore, I'm going to announce today to the world and to you, Eddie Gilbert, that you are out and I am in.
No,
I am taking, no, wait a minute. Now, you wait a minute. I am taking over the exclusive management of this man from this day forward.
Oh, wait a minute, sir. You know, Mr. Humperdinck, I know you got to be a little mistaken here. Because me and this man came to this area together, to Mid-South together. I molded his career. I gave him his chance to be the North American heavyweight champion.
I realize all that. I realize
we came
all
together
that.
as a team.
But the
one.
man's schedule now demands a more professional management team, and I can supply that to him. I'm prepared to offer you a job with the organization in a lesser capacity.
What?
Perhaps
You little
Hey, wait a minute here. Hey.
It's over with you, hot stuff.
Hey.
This is going to be my new manager now. You can just take a walk.
You've heard it from the source. You're not needed any longer, and don't touch me again.
My friend, the man I brought here that I thought was my buddy, the one that I thought...
There you go, thinking again. Hey, listen, I don't want you to take it like this. You have a job if you want it. I don't want the man to go on the street with nothing to do. He could work for us if he wanted to. But if he doesn't want to, that's fine with us too. From now on, it's Humperdinck and the Nightmare, and I want everybody out there to understand that things are going to change from this time on.
Well, there you have it, the champion with a new manager apparently, Sir Oliver Humperdinck. Very experienced manager, I guess. Eddie Gilbert kind of left out in the cold, I guess, but he's got something you can't take away from him, and that's a lot of wrestling skill. We're about to see some more great wrestling skill in action. The champion is in the ring, about to do battle. Alongside of him, his new manager, Sir Oliver Humperdinck.
This bout, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner.
Take care of the introductions from this moment on. I'll take care of his introductions. First of all, 5 times voted by the wrestling fans Manager of the Year. My name's Sir Oliver Humperdinck, and I'm in charge of the man you see now. Your champion, the North American heavyweight champion, the dreaded Nightmare. Daddy belongs to me now. He's with me.
And across the ring at 233 pounds from Tampa, Florida, in the blue corner, Frank Lane. Your referee, Alfred Neely.
Well, his first appearance in the ring, Sir Oliver Humperdinck. As he mentioned, voted 5 times Manager of the Year. Can't take that away from him, ladies and gentlemen. He is one of the most experienced managers in wrestling, but more importantly, one of the most successful managers in wrestling. So Oliver Humperdinck with his North American champion. This stunning turn of events, as Joel mentioned, Eddie Gilbert seemingly left out in the cold, let's say, as far as managing the Nightmare is concerned.
The Nightmare goes straight out to the attack. He fires Frankie Lane off hard. Lane gaining some velocity on those ropes, kind of an unorthodox flying body press. Frank Lane's a good athlete, strong kid, a hard trainer. He really wants to move up in the ranks. It'd certainly be a feather in his cap if he could defeat the champion. But I think according to most wrestling experts, Frankie Lane would be the underdog in this match. The champion is just practically unstoppable. We've seen him up against some major names in professional wrestling, and he's come out victorious. He is still the North American champion. He's clinging tenaciously to that belt, just as he's clinging tenaciously to the rear chinlock on Frankie Lane. Boy, look at how vicious he is with that elbow. Lane really feeling the sting of the canvas there. Champions got Lane up. It could have been a body press, but he fires Lane high into the air and down across that top steel cable. Frankie Lane obviously in a lot of pain. An illegal tactic, but certainly effective.
Sir Oliver Humperdinck, the camera shot just a few moments ago, seems to be very pleased with the proceedings that are taking place at this point in time, as the North American champion, the Nightmare as he has introduced him, is certainly dominating this match.
The Nightmare gouging the eyes of Frank Lane. Unnecessary punishment, but that's the way that the Nightmare operates. The Nightmare seems to at times take pleasure in brutalizing his opponents, much like you said Oliver Humperdinck was taking pleasure in the champion on Frank Lane. Frank Lane there with a couple of elbows. Frank sets the champion up for the arm whip. The champion with a kick to the chest. The champion with a hard kick to the chest and quickly to the pile driver.
The pile driver by the Nightmare. The North American champion, 1, 2, and 3. The Nightmare puts another one down with that dreaded pile driver. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with the Mid-South Tag Team Champions after this word from the exciting Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This bout, one fall with a 10-minute time limit, a tag team match. In the red corner, the Mid-South Tag Team title holders at 262 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, Ted DiBiase. And from Oklahoma University at 267 pounds, Steve Dr. Death Williams.
Thank you very much for being with us. Here you see Ted DiBiase and Steve Dr. Death Williams. Mid-South Tag Team Champions, and they're going to get it on with Brickhouse Brown and Mark Reagan. There's a bell that signifies action here on Mid-South.
Brickhouse Brown and Mark Reagan recently tag teaming together. They've met with some successes, and they feel that they've got their act together, and they're ready to take on the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Of course, they're not alone. The race for the Mid-South Tag Team belts has become really one of the high points in the Mid-South area recently. In wrestling, some of so many people are after those belts. I guess at the top of the list, you'd have to say that Jake the Snake and the Barbarian are really bearing down on him. Some people seem to think that, that Dr. Death and DiBiase are running from Snake and the Barbarian, but of course I think that's due to Ted DiBiase and the fact that he is no stranger to psychological warfare. Dr. Death there with a really hard shoulder smash to Brickhouse Brown. Brickhouse still feeling the pain of that one. As you can well imagine, look at the awesome physical structure of Dr. Death.
Number 76 for the Oklahoma Sooners came off like he was firing off against one of those Texas Longhorns or a Cornhusker. Now Brickhouse Brown, but Dr. Death caught him. Dr. Death, tremendous strength, and he just rammed Brickhouse into the cable, to the ring cable. I tell you, Joel, I've said this before, and you've agreed with me, the fans. Dr. Death, Steve Williams going to the well there, and it was dry. He's becoming, and rapidly so, one of the premier heavyweight wrestlers in this profession. Brickhouse Brown now making the tag. In comes Mark Reagan. That's what Brickhouse and Mark are going to have to do. Keep the champions off balance, keep this thing high tempo.
Dr. Death fires Mark Reagan out. Ted DiBiase really caught Reagan with a clothesline. Brother, he nailed him. DiBiase generating a whole lot of velocity on that arm whip, capitalizing on it with the elbow. A hard kick with the flat of the foot, that's legal, to the face. You won't see DiBiase using too many legal tactics. There's a fist to the face. DiBiase bringing the attack straight to Mark Reagan. Brother, he's pouring it on. Reagan, of course, a great athlete in his own right, but he's up against a tough man. Man who went to West Texas State and played football very successfully there. Dr. Death back in. Death with a really hard body slam. Dr. Death with a leg drop. His 30-inch thighs, all that muscular mass. Brother, he can crush you. Headbutt, but it looks like Dr. Death might have hurt himself in that instance a little bit. Could have been a chance for some momentum on the part of Mark Reagan, but he has suffered quite a bit of punishment thus far. Ted DiBiase to the second rope. Boy.
DiBiase and Dr. Death, they are really operating at top efficiency here on Mid-South Wrestling.
They're relentless, Jim.
They certainly are. They've stayed right on the offensive, Joel.
Of course, they're gearing up for a couple of tough monsters, like I said before, Jake the Snake and the Barbarian. #1 contenders for those tag team belts. And rightfully so, they are a great tag team in their own right.
And we'll see Jake the Snake Roberts and the Barbarian a little bit later in the hour. DiBiase with the backbreaker.
DiBiase the backbreaker, but Mark Reagan manages to get a foot on the rope. He gets a knee to the neck. Mark Reagan showing a lot of heart here at this point. I think the normal athlete would have given in by now. Dr. Death administering even more punishment, and Mark Reagan is really hurting. Death looked like he had him up for that stampede, but he wants to apply a little bit more punishment using those turnbuckles. Look at that awesome strength. Mark Reagan really needs to make the tag at this point. Reagan kicks out of the lateral press. What a statement on the part of Reagan. Brother, he's got a lot of heart. I think we'll see a lot out of him in the future. Great amateur background. Oh, DiBiase, really high elevation, and now he's up to that second rope, but he misses the elbow.
Mark Reagan needs to make the tag at this point in time. DiBiase with a slight miscalculation. Reagan makes the tag. Here comes Brickhouse Brown against Ted DiBiase, but DiBiase is right back on the offensive.
DiBiase stopped Brickhouse's momentum right off the bat with 3 hard right crosses, and look at that clothesline. DiBiase and Doc are as vicious as I have ever seen them.
The tag was made.
My goodness. Dr. Death's got Brickhouse up for the stampede. Ah, he planted him.
1, 2, 3, the Oklahoma Stampede. Steve Dr. Death Williams and Ted DiBiase, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, awesomely victorious. And we'll be back with a battle of the Texas Tough Guys, Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch and Dirty Dutch Mantell, right after this.
This event, one fall with a 10-minute time limit, a battle of the Texas Tough Guys. Introducing first in the ring in the red corner, from All Trough, Texas, Dirty Dutch Mantell. Pounds from Waxahachie, Texas, Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch.
Wait a minute, boy, Pierce. I got something to say here, Murdoch. You come back to Mid-South, and you've been shooting your big mouth off. Things have changed around here, Murdoch. You've been telling everybody how you got me into West Texas State. You did this for me, you did that for me. Let me tell you something, Murdoch. I had 19 offers from 19 different colleges to play football on my own ability. You ain't ever done nothing for me, Murdoch. Not a dang thing but shoot off your big mouth. I want to tell you something. I'm here to say right now, you need to move into the 21st century, baby. Get out of those days of roping cattle and spitting tobacco and come into the real world, baby. What I'm saying, bottom line is, keep your big mouth shut or I'll shut it for you.
Hey, DiBiase, let me tell you something. When you come out of high school, you were so dumb you couldn't get in Grambling or Acorn A&M. Now, furthermore, you couldn't even went to Oklahoma. You couldn't make an X. Now, you put this little worm rat out of the ring, and me and you'll go at it, and you'll turn tail and run, boy. Get out of here, boy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, and I guess we're going to ring the bell. We got a match there, and they're getting it on. DiBiase and Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch. This impromptu battle here on Mid-South.
DiBiase catches Murdoch with an arm work. Murdoch with an elbow. He's firing lefts and rights. Murdoch is just a brawler. Murdoch's a tougher fighter, as you'll find. And Dirty Dutch Mantell. Mantell left the ring, but he didn't leave the area. Oh, Mantell and Murdoch, tremendous collision. Murdoch really hitting his head on the mat. Both men down. DiBiase's outside of the ring. The champion! The champion from behind. Oh, Dick Murdoch, the champion, really cut Murdoch with a couple of forearms. He went for the pile driver. He went for the pile driver, and Murdoch reversed it. Murdoch fired away, but he's up against three men. Murdoch holding his own. Captain Redneck holding his own, and there's Butch Reed.
Here comes Butch Reed! Reed Murdoch are clearing the ring. They're standing tall. They've had all they can stand in this 2-on-1, these terrorist tactics. It's always 2-on-1 or 3-on-1, but not this time. Not this time. Hacksaw, Butch Reed, and Dick Murdoch standing tall, and they're in the ring, but nobody, and I mean nobody, wants any more. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back, and you'll see Hacksaw, Butch Reed in action after this word from the exciting Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event, one fall or 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 310 pounds from the state of Alabama, Mark Hawk. And his opponent, 265 pounds from Kansas City, Hacksaw Butch Reed. Your referee, Carl Fergie.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this crowd's still buzzing. Hacksaw Butch Reed getting ready to go against newcomer Mark Hawk. Looks to be around 300 pounds here. Hacksaw Butch Reed, the #1 contender for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship.
I tell you, Reed is back. Look at that. He is as strong as ever. He told me he feels like he's in as good a shape as he's ever been, possibly the best shape that he's ever been. And like you said, Jim, he is the #1 contender for the NWA World's Heavyweight title. And frankly, I, for one, I'd love to see him win that title.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joel, I happened to be in the Omni on July the 4th, and I heard Ric Flair talking to some people. whatever it takes. He does not want to face Hacksaw Butch Reed again. And not to take anything away from Ric Flair, he's a tremendous world champion. But I think he knows, and many insiders in wrestling know, that Hacksaw Reed has his number. He has everything it takes to be the first Black World's heavyweight champion.
Reed setting up Mark Hawk. Fires him off with an arm whip. A fist to the midsection. I tell you, when Reed gets out there, it ain't always the prettiest thing. But brother, he gets the job done.
He just picked up that man over, the guy's got to be over 300 pounds. Reed picks him up for a body slam. Hacksaw Butch Reed come to the aid with Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch, Hacksaw Duggan, Cowboy Bill Watts, Hacksaw Reed. They're all sick and tired of these terrorist tactics, these 2-on-1s, the 3-on-1s, this situation. And speaking of Akbar, I understand that there's a new team on the horizon. We're going to be seeing here a little bit, Joel, the Bounty Hunters.
Bounty Hunters, I've heard, really, really large guys. Hacksaw Butch Reed trying to break clean out of the corner, but Mark Hawk trying to gain a little momentum on Reed, but to no avail. He's hitting Reed with everything he's got, but Reed, it's not even facing Hacksaw Butch Reed. Brother, Reed is as tough as they come. There he goes with those big soup bones, hammering away at Mark Hawk. Mark Hawk's down on his knees, and he is completely not goofy.
There's a big soup bone right upside his head, and I'll say this, that soup bone will put them all down. It'll put them all in their place, that soup bone will.
Well, Reed is maneuvering this 300-pound man like he was nothing. You can just see the awesome strength that Hacksaw Butch Reed has in every single part of his body. He's not just concentrated to having big arms. Whoa, there it is, there's that shoulder. That flying forearm, the big soup bone.
And there you see the man, the #1 contender for the heavyweight championship for the world, Hacksaw Butch Reed. And we'll be back with more Mid-South Wrestling right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, last week here at Mid-South Wrestling, the match between Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Kareem Muhammad, the Zambui Express, with a very special stipulation last week that if Duggan won the match, he would get 5 minutes all alone with General Skandar Akbar here on Mid-South Wrestling. What a tremendous confrontation. Akbar drawing Duggan into this match, knowing that Cowboy Bill Watts was not on this Mid-South Wrestling program at that time. Again, Akbar had the deck stacked, but Duggan not to turn away any challenge, accepted the challenge. The match took place. Let's join the closing moments of that encounter.
He's got the momentum once again. He elevates the big man. 408 pounds elevated into the air. He's setting up for the spear. He hits him. Yes.
All the way over. Duggan knocked him all the way over the top rope and out on the floor.
He's got Akbar. Yeah. He's got Akbar, and this is it. Yeah. Yes. Whoa. Yeah. He nailed Akbar, but the Zambui's back up. The Zambui extremely powerful. Duggan's back to the Zambui. Akbar's on Dream Street. Akbar's on Dream Street. Kamala! Kamala's into the ring now.
Here comes Kamala!
800 pounds attacking Duggan for both sides. We got to get some help down here.
Akbar's kicking Duggan. Akbar's really kicking Duggan.
Skandar Akbar adding insult to injury. How demeaning, how insulting, how disgusting this terrorist. Kamala, we got some help down here, but Kamala with the chops. He's so awesome with those chops. And the Zambui is holding Hacksaw Duggan. The Zambui has got Duggan at bay, and Akbar is still unmercifully pounding on Duggan with those street shoes.
We got bodies going everywhere. Both these men have got, Duggan cannot handle both men.
It's chaos, carnage. We've got to get some more help down here. Zambui really attacking Duggan. Duggan is hurt. He's down. He's helpless.
They're going after Duggan's eye.
They're going after his eye, gentlemen. But we've got some more help. Brickhouse Brown, Mark Reagan, the Fantastics, Al Perez, and Kamala and the Zambui are finally leaving.
Akbar, they double up on Duggan. Duggan, there's no way one man can handle those three. Duggan needed some help. He finally got some in the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, Akbar tried to take that eye.
The terrorism continues, Jim. Somewhere in that devious mind of Skandar Akbar, I have a feeling that he had this entire thing planned out. I'll tell you, there are a lot of things but in this world that are precious to a lot of people, but not many things as precious to a person as his eyesight. Skandar Akbar trying to take out that other eye of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and it's really frustrating. Right now, the Bounty Hunters, a new force in the Mid-South area, are in the ring ready to do battle. Let's go to the ring now.
This tag team match, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at a combined weight of 710 pounds, the Bounty Hunters. And across the ring at 210 pounds from Chicago, Mike Nichols. And his team partner, San Antonio at 231 pounds, Wendell Cooley. Alfred Neely, your referee.
There you see the Bounty Hunters, over 700 pounds combined weight. As Alfred Neely calls for the bell, ladies and gentlemen, we have tag team action. This team, the Bounty Hunters, and I tell you, we don't know a thing about them except that they are extremely, extremely big.
You know, Jim, I just can't help but think that somewhere behind all this, Skandar Akbar's got to be lurking. Anytime you get a team as awesome as this in, you got to think there's somebody recruiting them. Hard arm went by one of the Bounty Hunters. Wendell Cooley into the turnbuckles, but Cooley comes out unscathed and fires away a couple of right crosses. Tags into his partner, Mike Nichols. Nichols in now, firing away at the midsection of the Bounty Hunter, but not even phasing the Bounty Hunter.
And speaking of General Skandar Akbar, he's talking about the disciplinary jumps. Akbar's at ringside. There you see him, General Akbar. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that next week here on Mid-South Wrestling, you'll see these two massive Bounty Hunters against Cowboy Bill Watts and Hacksaw Jim Duggan right here next week on Mid-South Wrestling.
Tag into the second Bounty Hunter. What an elbow. Can you imagine the momentum that a man could gain with all that weight behind an elbow like that? Atomic drop. Mike Nichols in a lot of pain. There's not much you can do against one of these big guys. You have really, really got to be powerful to overcome that mass. Body slam.
Well, they're working very well. You can obviously tell that they've got their strategy down. Ooh!
Jim, by the looks of them, they almost look like identical twins.
Well, it was double trouble, I'll say that, ladies and gentlemen. Double trouble for Mike Nichols as the Bounty Hunters victorious. Akbar has seen all he needs. He is leaving the area, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with Jake the Snake Roberts and the Barbarian in tag team action after this from Mid-South.
This event, one fall, our television time remaining, a tag team match at 253 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Jake the Snake, and his team partner, the powerful Barbarian. And across the ring, 225 pounds from Birmingham, Larry Clark, and his partner, the Red Raider.
Tag team action here, ladies and gentlemen. The #1 contenders for the Mid-South Tag Team titles, Jake the Snake Roberts and the Barbarian, going against Larry Clark and the Red Raider as Carl Fergie calls for the bell. This is the team and this that everyone's looking for to go against Ted DiBiase and Dr. S. Steve Williams for those Mid-South Tag Team title champions, those belts. What a collision that will be.
Well, there are some close resemblances between the two teams. On the one hand, you've got a master tactician on both teams. On the other hand, you've got a man who is extremely powerful. So there are some striking similarities. They use a lot of the same tactics. Jake the Snake really being vicious on the Red Raider. You hear the Barbarian out there yelling threats at the Red Raider. Oh!
6'8", 320 pounds coming over that top rope. This guy is really a specimen. A big foot right to the face.
Barbarian coming off of his feet with that foot. Really connected with the face of the Red Raider. I don't think that mask probably provided much protection in that instance. Hard body slam from almost 7 feet up. Brother, you know that's gotta hurt. The Red Raider just practically incapacitated from that one. Barbarian quick to the attack on Larry Clark. You can get some idea of the size of the Barbarian. On the average, Larry Clark is a big man, but up against the Barbarian, he looks minuscule.
Barbarian once with a press slam and then with a backbreaker. He is really manhandling Larry Clark here, ladies and gentlemen, on Mid-South Wrestling.
Jim, this is something I've seen the Barbarian doing. It's unbelievable. Look at that. All the way off the second rope, 320 pounds, 6'8" tall, and so agile that he executes a flying elbow. What a weapon. But here's the weapon, Jim.
That's the weapon everybody is talking about. The Barbarian knocked the Red Raider off the ring, and Jake the Snake with a DDT. And that's why they are, without a doubt, the #1 contenders for the Mid-South Tag Team Championship. And ladies and gentlemen, right now, let's take this opportunity to show you a premiere video that Joe Watts has produced on the Fantastics.
Man, it's hot out here, Tom. I wish somebody would come by and pick us up, man.
I do too. You know, we got to get downtown. That's where all the girls are.
You ain't lying, brother.
Another great video, Joel, on just a fantastic team. They're so aptly named, Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton, the Fantastics.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. I'd like to thank Bob Von Jerchy, our technical supervisor at Mid-South Wrestling, for his help in the video. And, of course, the Fantastics also. They're a great couple of guys to work with. They've always got great ideas, and they're so helpful, and they're really good for that type of stuff. Jim, it's been a great hour so far. I tell you, Mike Graham, newcomer to the Mid-South area. We see the Bounty Hunters, also newcomers. Hacksaw, Butch Reed victorious here. Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch and his altercation with Ted DiBiase. We saw the Mid-South Tag Team Champions victorious. And and of course the #1 contenders for the Mid-South Tag Team titles, Jake the Snake Roberts and the Barbarian. And of course, next week we've got some great matches already booked.
Yes, we sure do, Joel. And I do want to add that I have never seen Jake the Snake and the Barbarian or Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death in their individual matches look any sharper. That confrontation is really brewing. And the binding together, the men that are standing up against this terrorism of Akbar, Dick Murdoch and Hacksaw Reed standing together next week, it's going to be Cowboy Bill Watts and Hacksaw Jim Duggan against those massive bounty hunters. You're going to see Mike Graham against Dirty Dutch Mantell. Plus, that impressive newcomer Al Perez gets a tremendous test against Steve Dr. Death Williams next week. Ladies and gentlemen, for our ring announcer Boyd Pierce and my colleague Joel Watts, I'm Jim Ross saying once again, thank you so very much for allowing us to come into your home. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you right here next week on Mid-South Wrestling.